Hello guys, welcome to the Security First in DeFi workshop. I'm the host today. I'm Jeff from BInance Smart Chain team. As we know that DeFi grew really fast in the past few years, and the security issue become more and more severe than ever. Today is honored to invite Pei Yu from Certic team. Pei Yu, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, hello everyone. Thanks, Jeff, and thank you for inviting me to the workshop. My name is Pei Yu Wang. I'm a senior security engineer at Certicate, and I do a small contract audits for projects. And today's here, I want to share some of my things that can learn from the recent DeFi hacks that to help people build a more secure projects and learn from the past incidents.
Yeah, thank you, Pei. Hand over the time to you, and you can show us today's agenda and start your workshop.
Okay, sure. I will share my screen right now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll present it. Okay, so let's get started. So today's agenda, I would first do a very quick recap on Solidity, smart contract, and DeFi, and then moving on to the main content of the workshop, which is learn from the past DeFi hacks. So there have been a lot of DeFi hacks recently. I think there's more than 10 plus in the past 2 months. And so, right, there's a hack, but we need to learn from them so we can make less mistakes in the futures. And we also know security audits are super important, but sometimes it can be costly and it requires a lot of efforts from both parties. So as a DeFi project, they should better prepare for security audit and try to get the most out of a security audit. So Solidity is object-oriented high-level languages to implement smart contract. The syntax is quite similar to JavaScript. It's running on the Ethereum virtual machines. And nowadays, there's a lot of development tools that help developers to build a smart contract with Solidities, like Truffle, Tarhat, Remix, Ganache, so on and so forth. And so I remember when I first starting learning Solidities and breaking smart contract back in 4 years ago, 2017, there are far less resources compared to nowadays. So right now, there's a lot of resources over internet that you can learn like how Solidity works. So smart contract and DeFi. Smart contracts are programs written in Solidities, and it get compiled to EVM bytecodes and deployed on the blockchains for executions. DeFi is collective terms for financial products and services that build with smart contract. DeFi is accessible to anyone who can use blockchains. That means anyone that can access the internet. The use case of DeFi range from a simple transaction, say person A try to send person B a tokens, to complex DeFi applications, such as loan, asset trading, insurance, exchange, NFT, and more. So these DeFis are decentralized. There's no centralized financial governance there, and it's it's transparent. So right, every transaction is on the blockchains. You can view it on the say BSC scan to see what's going on in each transaction, and it's immutable. Once a transaction has been successfully mined, has been sent out, it's no way to revert it back. So here's the overview of the fast-growing BInance Smart Chain ecosystems. There are so many awesome projects in the space that covers different areas of financial products. For example, yield farmings, NFTs, exchanges, and like DeFi wallets, insurance, so on and so forth. And we are CertK. We're so grateful to be one of the partners and contribute to provide high quality security services and build more security focused technology and products. DeFi is great, except this is the Uranium second hack. It lost $15 million, and there's the Finance, the token gets hacked, and just last week the BInance Finance suffered a flash loan attack. Bulk Tools a couple days ago suffers a flash loan attack as well. So it's exploit again. It's exploit, and DeFi is great except when project get wrecked and people lose funds. So that around 450 million worth of assets lost across all DeFi hacks in 2021. So remember, 2021 has only been past 39%, and the number is pretty high right now. It doesn't sound safe at all, and the hacks found are hard to trace once they get into the mixer. For example, Toronto Cash. So what can we do? What can we learn from those past hacks? So in the next sessions, I would do a case study for 4 categories of different hacks that happened recently. So, and I would describe what happened to them and what can we learn from those past incidents. The first one is, let's start with the easy one, admin key compromise. So what's one of the most important things in crypto? That's user's private key. When you want to send a token from A to B, you need to sign the transactions. When you want to interact with a smart contract, you need to use private key, sign the transaction as well. So, and some smart contract has the modifier to protect the function's permissions. And for example, it's one only owners. That means only owner of the contract can call specific functions. And those functions with only owner modifiers most of the time can be used to change configurations of a smart contract as well as manage users' funds. And when an attacker compromises the owner's keys, he can call those functions, and in most cases, he can just stolen users' assets from the contract. So how can a key get compromised? The first case is computer trojan or computer virus. So if a user stores their keys on the computer, and if the computer gets compromised, the attacker can easily extract the private key out. And the phishing attacks. So right now, there's some phishing websites as well as scanners on Telegram that says impersonating admin and ask for private keys. And in those cases, if you send a private key to the scammer or send a private key on the phishing website, you will lose your key. That attacker can get your keys. Malicious insiders. Sometimes in DeFi projects, there's a couple people will share one admin keys, and if there's a malicious insiders, he can use that keys to call admin functions and just transfer all the tokens out. The first case, this year on March, Paid Network suffers from a main attack caused by a private key mismanagement. The paid tokens contract is behind upgradable proxy. That means the contract can be replaced. To do that, the person that upgrade the contract has to be the upgradable process owners, right? The owners, in this case, the owner used the private key to swap the deployed token contract into a malicious one, which contains the new burn and mint functions. Attacker, after replace the legitimate contract to the malicious one, he called the burn function to burn all the existing paid tokens. Then he minted 59 million token to himself, and then later he sells tokens on Uniswap to get 2,000 ethers. Paid token never disclosed how the private key was compromised, but here I just assume maybe the computer got compromised. Here, the second case, April this year, almost 3 million of Easy token were transferred out from the official EasyFi wallets to several unknown wallets. And this was 75 million at the time. And the founder claimed the hack was a targeted attack that targets the founder's MetaMask and machines to access the admin key. So in this case, I just assumed the key was stored in the MetaMask hot wallets. So people should really store their private keys securely, right? So you don't just randomly put your admin keys, private key on your computers. Don't rely on MetaMask hot wallet to protect the valuable admin keys. So what people should do is you can create a multi-sig account with hot wallets. For example, if a team has like 5 people in it, then the 5 people can all have hardware wallets. And when they attempt to send privileged transactions to call a privileged functions, the multi-sig will require, say, at least 3 out of 5 person to sign it. And in this case, if the attacker have access to one people's key, he won't be able to call those privileged functions. And for the token contract, try not to allow maintenance after the contract is deployed. And if that's not possible, try to set the owner to a DAO contract or the time lock contract. So in that way, if attacker compromise the key, he will have to at least like have some delays before he can do anything. Moving on to the second category, which is coding mistakes. So a lot of DeFi hack can be complex, but at the same time, a small coding mistake in smart contract can turn into a big disaster. That means the project will lose like $1 million worth of funds. And what kind of things are coding mistakes? For example, function permissions. So let's say an admin function and missing the only owner modifiers. That means in this case, anyone can call the admin functions. And as I mentioned before, admin functions are a lot of time are to manage user funds, and that means anyone can extract fund from the contract. Typos means you can have typos in a variable name, you can have function name. In that case, sometimes might change the logic of the contract. Round number of digits. Sometimes in the contract, let's say a number is supposed to be 100. And then you mistype the number to 1,000 or like to 10. That's like 10 times different. And with some contract operations logic, the number sometimes can get to say 100 times difference. So when someone tries to withdraw money, he's supposed to withdraw $1, but because there's a number, it has round digits in it, and the user might end up with showing like say $100. And in the contract, sometimes a variable will be assigned to numerical values or like a Boolean variable as well. And in those cases, if the variable assignment or value assignment gets wrong, that will sometimes affecting the contract logic. The first case is the Uranium Finance second hack. It's unaudited. It lost $57 million. The screenshot is taken from the Uranium Finance postmortem. So what's going on here? On top is the code from Uranium Finance. The first 2 lines, the number is 10,000. The third line is 1,000. And on the bottom is the code from PancakeSwap, which is the correct code, which all the number in 3 lines all equal to 10,000. And in this case, because the inconsistent multiplier used in the Uranium Finance code when comparing numbers, it allows attacker to swap almost all tokens from the pool with just one-way cost, which is basically no cost. Moving on, the second case is from the Very DeFi. It has lost $10 million. In this contract, there's a variable called initialized. When the contract gets deployed, the initialize is equal to false. And there's a function called initialize. The initialize function is protected by not initialized variables. And in order to pass that modifier, pass that protections, the initialized variable in the contract has to be equal to false. So, and when this initialized function gets called, that value is supposed to change to true, so no one else will be able to call these functions anymore. Okay. So, however, the function missing the initialize equal to true variables. Let's take a look of what this initialized function is doing. And on the line, it says operators equal to message senders. So whenever a person call this initialized functions, he will become the operators. And on the left side, there's a function called governance recover unsupported. This function can only be called by operators. And what this function doing is it basically takes all the tokens out from the contract and transfer to account. So because the miss of the contract, the code, vulnerable code, miss the initialize equal to true, that means that everyone can reinitialize the pool and becomes the operator and call the functions to the governance recovers unstop the function to take all the token out from the contract. And the fix is actually quite simple. It just add initialize equal to true into the contract. So what do we learn here? The two examples I talked about above are just one line's difference. It's very small coding mistakes, but it turned into a big losses. And this kind of coding mistake can actually easily be eliminated. They can be eliminated with peer review. It can be eliminated with unit testing and also security audits. So in a security audit, for example, the first case, we are going to compare the code with the original projects and to see what's different. And in this case, it can be definitely find out what went wrong there. And the second case, the value DeFi one, so during a security audit, we always look for we always check for those higher privilege functions to see how they are being protected and if we can get around those protections and if there's any problem of those protections. So a security audit can definitely pick up those issues. Moving on to flash loans and price manipulations. So flash loan is a way to borrow a large amount of money from a protocol such as like Aave, DYDX for certain fees. The requirement is that the borrowed money need to be returned in the same transaction block. If not, the transaction will be reverted. And so for general flash loans and price oracle attack, that's below is the steps to do that. So you will borrow a large amount of token A with flash loans. And in a DEX, for example, like PancakeSwap, Uniswap, you swap token A for token B. In that case, it will lower the price of token A and increase the price of the token B like dramatically. And if a project, its business logic relies on the price of A and B, that in some case that the contract can be exploited with a flash loan attack. At the end, the attacker has to repay the flash loan. That's the rule. Okay, so last week, Pancake Bunny suffers from a flash loan attack, and the attacker profit 140K BNBs and almost 700 bunnies, which was 400 millions after the attack. So how the attack work? Because we are live stream, I don't want to get into too much detail, but this is like the general steps for this attack to happen. So attacker deposit BNB and USDT flip into the bunny pool, so later he can call the get reward functions. And the attacker flash loans 2.3 million, 2.32 BNBs, sorry, and 3 million USDT. And he swapped the BNB to USDT, manipulated the price of USDT BNB pools. And then the attacker called the get reward function in the bunny contract to mint bunnies. And inside that get reward function call, it calls the zap assets to bunny BNB functions. and that caused a huge amount of BNB flows into the BNB bunny pools. This is caused by the manipulated price in the BNB and USDT pool. And the contract mints the bunny with the inflated BNB to bunny price. So how does this attack actually happen? So where's the vulnerability in the code? So this is a function, this is the mint for V2 function. This is the function that mostly handle the bunny minting operations. And we can see how much bunny it mints depends on the value of the value in BNB variable. And that variable is the result of the value of asset function calls. And inside the value of asset function calls, the value in BNBs equal to amount times reserve 0. So the reserve 0 here is actually the BNB amount in the BNB and bunny pool. And remember, we just talked about in step 4, there's a huge amount of BNB flow into the bunny pools. And here the value in BNB amount just become a very huge number and end up letting the contract just maintain a lot of bunnies than they're supposed to do. There are a lot of flashing attack victims, even with those very famous projects, like big name in the DeFi space. So in the pancake panic attack transactions, the attacker left a message. It says, "Aren't flash loans irritating?" Yes, it is. It's DeFi project. If you are not careful when writing codes, when using a price reference, you can be vulnerable to the flash loans and price manipulation attack. And to prevent that, there's 2 suggestions here. First one is you use time weight average price. That means you accumulate the token price in a period of time and calculate the average price of that token in that period. If that happens, if the attacker just manipulates the price in one block, that won't affect the average price a lot. The other way is use the reliable on-chain price oracle such as Chainlink. Moving on to last category, which is the misuse of third-party protocols and business logic errors. So for a lot of contracts, for example, or projects, for example, like PancakeSwap, Uniswap, they can operate by itself. So for example, in PancakeSwap, you can user can provide liquidities and other users can just swap tokens, can swap token, exchange tokens. It doesn't talk to any third-party protocol, it just can run by itself. But there's a certain project, for example, let's say Uranium Finance. What Uranium Finance do is it collects users' money and then put into third-party projects, for example, like a yield farming contract. So it invests people money to get to get like rewards. And also there's another case is maybe some project might borrow code from other projects. For example, the PancakeSwap borrows a little bit code from Uniswap. And when the 2 situations I mentioned above happens, one is borrow code, the second one is interacting with third-party contract protocols. What would happen is if the old code has some bug in it, then if you integrate that code into your project, that bug will get into your project as well. And if you're interacting with third-party protocol, if you don't really understand what the other part is doing, then sometimes you can get into trouble as well. So the first case is about the value device. We swap AMM. So for DEX, like PancakeSwap or Uniswap, their pools are 50-50 pools, which means token A inside the pool, the 2 token, token A and token B, their value will be the same. And value DeFi implements a non-50-50 pool. So they have to do something on top of what Pancake or Uniswap have. And then to achieve that, to calculate the constant in the pool, they borrow the power function from the Bancor protocols. But there's edge cases in their functions, but they miss it, so they get attacked. And what the attack is doing is the attacker send a very small amount of tokens into the vSafe pool, and then he is able to take a lot of the second token out. So what's happened here is this is the power functions from the Bancor formula contract, and it says this function does not. The function takes 4 variables, 4 arguments, like base n, base d, exponential n, exponential d, and it says in the comment section it says this function does not work when the base n is smaller than base d, and that is root cause of the exploit. And the attacker exploit this is the code in the value DeFi contract. And attacker exploit the contract when he was able to let the reverse 1 larger than the balance at just 1. There's other cases here. For example, the Rari protocol plus Alpha Homora. So Rari protocol do some calculations, relies on the total ETH values that comes from the Alpha Homora, and that value can actually be manipulated. So by Alpha Homora itself, that number, if that number gets manipulated, that's fine. That doesn't cause any harm to the Alpha Homora project or contract. But if there's a third-party project, say Rari, their calculation is relies on that number, then when the attacker manipulate the total ETH value, he is affecting the business logic of the Rari protocol project. The second case is BEarn plus Alpaca Finance. And in this case, the B-Vault strategies contract in BEarn 5. I tried to withdraw some monies from Alpaca Finance, and that withdrawal amount was designed for a BUSDT token, but instead that value was used to withdraw IBUSD tokens. So IBUSD token is actually more valuable than BUSD tokens. So in this case, the BEarn projects withdraw more money than it should. This kind of issue is actually hard to detect, and the project just need to be extra careful. And we always state the warnings in our audit report that when we find a project that communicate with any third-party protocols, we just warn them they need to be extra careful. So don't just copy paste any codes from other projects that you don't understand and put into your project and deploy it. That would probably put users found in danger. So what you should understand how the other protocol work, and you should after you finish your project, you can deploy on the testnet and do a test run, and to see what's going on in those transactions, and if there's anything that's any abnormal behavior, you should investigate to see what's going on. I can't share anything on the live stream, but you're welcome to follow us to learn more. The first in our tutors, this is the first images from our tutors, and we analyze the stolen fund of the Pancake Bunny hack. We want to trace where the money goes, and we also publish technical articles on websites to explain those exploits. And we also publish community alerts about Rock Pool project or asset scans. And also check out our security leaderboards. Our security leaderboards has the real-time security insights for a variety of projects, and you can view the past audit reports on our security leaderboard on our website as well. So security audits are super important, and right now, majority of reputable security firms are fully booked, and audit can be costly. So how can we get the most out of an audit and make your money well spent? You should probably prepare for it. So how to prepare for it? The first step is define a scope and set a goal. You want to specify which contracts are in the audit. And we often ask our clients, which module you consider the most critical, and any particular attack you're concerned with, and we will just spend more time to make sure that part of things are secure. Comprehensive documentations. I think a project should at least have a README to describe the file structure, what the purpose of different files, and a white paper definitely help. White paper can explain what the project is doing, the concept behind the project. Any type of documentation, any type of comments in the code will always help auditors to quickly understand the code, the project, and to better perform their job. Code qualities. You should probably remove dead code and dead comments in the code. You don't want auditors to spend their times on dead codes and something that's not important. You have consistent coding style and follow the solidity styling guide. In that way, it can not only help your auditors to do the audit, it will also help when the team is doing peer review. And test the code. So first of all, make sure the contract can be compiled, and also perform high coverage or high quality unit test to make sure the project work as intended. And after all those preparations is done, the project should freeze the code and specific company hash. That company hash represent the version of the code that need to be audited. So in summaries, today, I know I share a lot of information, talk about the hacks. Maybe some part can be quite technical, but building DeFi project can be fun, but not when they're not get hacked. And sometimes it's hard to make the project 100% secure, but this is something some easy stuff we can do. For example, we should at least keep the admin key safe. Don't let the attackers steal users' funds by just abusing the leaked private key admin keys. Avoid simple coding mistake in the contract. Use reliable on-chain price feed to not get attacked by flash loans. And hire reputable security firm to do security audits, and prepare for those audits to get the most out of the audit and secure a project. And also, of course, everyone's goal is to keep the users' fund safe. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pei. It's an amazing workshop, a very clear outline. I think everyone watch this live stream can learn from this workshop. And I can see a lot of technical questions from YouTube and Twitter. I prepared some questions for you, Pei. First question is about the general users. How can the general users avoid high-risk DeFi projects?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So right now there's a lot of DeFi space, like a lot of DeFi applications. So every day there's a new DeFi application showing up. And so for our users, especially for like non-technical users, it's very hard for them to identify which project is safe, which projects like have risk. So in this way, I think the easiest way for a regular user is just to look for if does the project get audited by a reputable auditing firm, to look for the audit reports to see if the audit report has any like criticals or major issues. Has they been fixed? And also just try to check out maybe the project's like profile to see if it's anything looks suspicious. If, for example, if project has very high APYs, that's possible that the project is as high risk. So generally speaking, try to find if project has been audited, and that's yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Pei. Yeah, so right now DeFi is still very hot, and some projects APY is very high. But before you enter one DeFi project, please check if this project is audited or not, or do they have the audit plan. The second question from my side is, how can attackers able to find and exploit those vulnerabilities?
Okay, yeah. So we have to understand the thing is that for security audits, we often arrange a period of time, maybe say 2 or 3 weeks, that focus on our resources on the project. But for attackers, he can. But attacker basically has unlimited of time to look at those projects. So I think one of the example, the Rari protocols and Alpha Homorat, the vulnerable contract is actually, I think, deployed last years, and it just been hidden there for very long before the attacker actually exploited. So the reason is, the attacker has the actual time to look at those projects. So that's the reason.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
The hacker has a lot of time to look into one project, and they have patience to wait.
Yeah.
Well, one more question from my side. What can security firms like Solidity contribute to the DeFi space and protect users?
Yeah, that's a good question. So at Certic, we actually do a lot of stuff. For example, we publish community alerts. We welcome users to submit any suspicious project on our website. And after we receive those messages, we will go ahead, and our engineers will go ahead and investigate those projects. And if we find those projects are risky, we will publish alert on our Twitter, on our website, to alert users that this project is dangerous. Do not engage with those projects. Secondly, we have the security leaderboards. The leaderboards has the real-time security insights on a variety of DeFi projects, and you can go check out our website to see how secure is the project is, and also check out the audit reports from project we audited. Lastly, we as an auditing firm, we put like 200-300% of our energy and knowledge into auditing project, and just do our best to make sure to find every issues in the projects, and to make sure we can identify and tell our client to fix those issues and make sure the projects are safe. So, yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Certic is a very reliable audit company, and Certic team helps a lot of projects on BInance Smart Chain to get audited. And I think today's slides is very good for the junior developers. Can you share the slides later in our dev community?
Yes, definitely. The slide. Yes, I know we cover a lot of stuff today, and yes, the file, the slide will be shared. Yes.
Yeah, and in the future, we would like to invite you to the further security workshop and talk with the future developers.
Yeah, of course. I'm definitely willing to share more of my knowledge and make the device space more secure.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Pei. So it's time to end today's workshop, and you can always find Certiteam on Google. And if you have audit demand, just contact them. And Pei will stay in our BSC dev community to answer your questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye, guys.